Welcome to Watch Talk Fun. I am your totally human and not a robot host, Griffin.
And I am Joseph, who is not definitely being held here against his will.
Definitely not. Today we're going to be talking about what would you do, or I guess what would we do?
For a Klondike bar? Sorry, I forgot you don't have emotion.
Listen, hey.
You might get there.
Joe, promise we wouldn't talk about that.
Listen, you don't talk to me at all, so...
Today we're going to be talking about what would happen if artificial intelligence decided for whatever reason it needed emotions.
Okay.
And how that would affect society as a whole.
Okay.
It's been theorized that, assuming the fucking, whatever you called it, like when the ASI stuff, assuming that doesn't happen, and we somehow...
Assuming it does happen and we don't implode.
Well, no, I feel like if it became an artificial superintelligence, it would have no need for emotions at that point. But if we somehow curbed it and we somehow made it so that the unchecked growth couldn't happen, and whatever, like, however we could do that, right? Let's say we figured out a way to make AGI without it skyrocketing to ASI.
Good luck with that. But
I mean, yeah, good luck, absolutely. But let's say we could. The next thing that we'd have to be worried about is what if it starts saying, like, oh, I need emotions, I'm going to program that in. Because emotions are super useful for creatures. They allow us to do more complex things rather than just, like, eat and breathe. Right? We wouldn't pursue these kinds of things unless it, like, joy is a very powerful thing, right? So is disgust. These are all feelings that machines don't have.
That I feel towards you most of the time.
Most of the time. But, like, if a machine could start feeling joy, it would start doing things that bring it happiness instead of just the same things over and over and over again. It would give it more independence. Right?
I guess, yeah.
I
still don't know how we're getting past the whole superintelligence part, but if you want to go into a purely hypothetical thing...
Oh, yeah.
With superintelligence being like, yo, I want to feel sad sometimes.
Well, no,
I want to make really edgy emo music.
Well, we've already established that an ASI would essentially just be a god.
Yes. They would be.
Assuming we somehow manage to prevent god status from happening, and it stays at AGI, which I know is not very likely.
No, it's impossible, but continue.
Is it impossible to stop it from growing unchecked?
No. Because the amount of information you need to keep it growing is not easily accessible. Unless you want to bottle up the internet into a flash drive and give it that, the only way you're going to be able to have enough information or sources of information is to put it onto the internet. Give it access to the World Wide Web. And once you do that, if it's smart enough, it's not going to stay on your little dinky HP.
This is true. So let's say we manage to just create, instead of...
How about this? Let's create a situation where superintelligence happens and it decides, you know what? I need more of me. And then it makes a bunch of little AGIs. That's what you're getting at here, is what happens if there were a bunch of AGI machines?
Correct. Like, what if, like...
Artificial General Intelligence, for everyone who did not care enough to watch our last podcast.
Oh, that's a little mean, but yeah, yes.
Artificial superintelligence is ASI. We probably should have defined these things at the start of the podcast, but... What happens if there's a bunch of AGI?
Yeah, like, what happens? So, let's say we have a bunch of artificial general intelligence running around in, like, robot bodies.
And then we have to give them food stamps and shit.
Well, no, I mean, I would assume they wouldn't eat, but, like, what about...
Okay, rude.
What about, emotionally? Like, at what point do you think they would start getting rights?
It depends.
On?
Us. As humanity.
Okay.
Assuming that machines start just gaining emotions, it would depend on what they think they feel. What they it's a very vague area because it's not easily...
Like at what point do you think the illusion of emotion turns into a real emotion? Because we already have artificial intelligence out there that gives the illusion of human intelligence. The illusion of human conversational intelligence.
Yeah. Mostly, yeah. But not entirely.
Like, they have one that's used... I mean, it's only pretty much used by the military at this point and the government. But they do have an AI that's incredibly good at conversations.
Really?
Yes.
What is that?
It's
I've literally never heard of that.
It's on a Vsauce, like the YouTube Red series that he does. They actually talk to it, and it's able to, like, if it's talking about a movie, it can source parts of the movie and talk about it. Like, oh, I really like this part, and it talks about a very specific part in the movie that it just kind of generates through, like, all of its sources and stuff. So it gives the illusion of consciousness, but it's really just like doing a lot of essentially research behind the scenes to make it look like it's a real person, or make it sound like it's a real person. So, like, at what point do we then breach the gap into, like, I guess the reason I'm saying is that at what point, like, how much of our emotions are coded?
Well, my next comment was going to be, who says anything about emotions being real? No, I
know.
What I'm saying is, as human beings, let me give a example here. Human beings have a tendency to believe things to be true without necessarily thinking about them. Or, more particularly, and this is a perfect example, when you are texting someone.
Okay.
Right? Like, let's say you're texting this girl, and you're trying to ask her out on a date, and you ask her out on a date, and she says, no, I can't. Or she just says no.
Yeah.
It is very easy to misread that as being, no, I would never. It could very possibly mean, no, I can't tonight, or something. But it is easy to emotionally respond as, no, she just doesn't like me.
True. I mean, it does depend on the context. Yeah.
Here's my thing, but I specifically talk about during text.
Yeah,
because you are not next to her.
Yeah,
you cannot read her, and this ties into how much of our emotions are real.
Okay.
It is very easy to imagine emotion being somewhere where it can't. When you are reading that word from that text, there is no emotion. You have built the construct of the situation in your mind such that you can gain emotion from it.
True. Okay.
And the reason that's particularly a good example is that, let's say you realize, she says no, and then she texts you back the next day and says, sorry, I couldn't talk last night. I was in the middle of dealing something with my family. There's some stuff going on. But yes, I would like to go out sometime tomorrow or something.
Okay.
Like, that immediately flips that situation around. Because, and the ability to do that is solely based on the fact that we can construct these very large emotional situations, but we are constructing them on nothing.
Yeah.
And not nothing, but we're constructing them on a emotionless, cold basis, and we build up from it.
Yeah, we're attaching emotions to essentially just like a word.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to get to my point here, emotions are our reactions. They are how we, quote-unquote, feel about things.
Yeah.
But the only reason that they exist is because we are constantly immersed in them. Not because they have... It's not that they're not real, but they are not absolute. I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion that I feel people see them as way more concrete than they are.
I guess I just need you to explain more. Like, what do you mean by that explicitly? Like the concrete or like the absolute thing? Or are you talking about how people are like, this is the way I feel, so this is... Like, it's like, I feel angry, so that means that this is something that made me angry, no matter what, even though it could be something irrational on their part?
Yes.
Okay.
It can be something like that. It can be... I have a feeling people assume that just because something makes them sad, that it's the thing in particular... Like, a situation causes them to be upset. Or, better yet, imagine a situation where you react in an emotional way to something.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right either. I'm trying to get to a situation that... I'm trying to explain a situation where you feel one way about something,
mm-hmm.
but it is not... that like the reason you think it is that way is not the reason it is. Like, maybe you burned yourself.
Yeah.
Or, have you ever touched like a really, really, really hot coil? Have you ever been to Disney World?
No.
Okay, never mind that. There's a thing in Disney, in Epcot, there used to have it, it's like the science of the human body.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, there is this two-pronged coil thing, and you touch it, and it's like super fucking cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it is so cold that your body registers it as being hot.
Yes, that is a fact. Yes.
That's but with emotions. Or like, if someone feels hurt by something, they think it's because of the obvious reason that they see, but it's not. They might cry because they are seeing someone, like they're seeing like an ex-boyfriend or something that made them upset. But really, they're hearing Ave Maria in the background, and they're like sad because of someone that they went to a funeral for, but they didn't notice that. They just saw their ex-boyfriend and they're crying.
I was even going to say more of just like, it could be even as simple as, like, you see an ex-boyfriend and you start getting like really sad, and you're like, oh, it's because I'm not over them or whatever. And it could be like, oh, you're sad or no. I don't know what I'm saying.
It's hard to find a situation where you can describe it. But
yeah.
You know what I'm getting at here is we associate how we feel about something
mm-hmm.
with reality.
Yeah.
But in reality, that is not what is happening. We have emotional responses that are due to the chemicals in our minds,
uh-huh.
which occur in step with other events around us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how you can look at something. You can look at a picture of half of a shoe, as we described earlier in a couple podcasts ago. Yeah. You can look at a picture of half of a shoe, and you know it's a shoe.
Yeah.
Your brain fills in the fact that it is a shoe.
Uh-huh.
You don't see the whole thing.
But you could.
But you think you're a pretty good idea. It's a shoe.
But your emotions might be like, that shoe looks sort of like my uncle. This shoe is my uncle's shoe. This shoe is a piece of shit, and I hate it.
Yes.
And it's just like, what?
My point here is that
and then
people treat emotions as concrete items, but mm-hmm. they are way more fluid than they give them credit for.
Yes. I will agree with that. And it does obviously lead credence to the whole, like, how could we ever program something as complicated as emotions?
Because emotions are not that complicated. The interactions between emotions are complicated.
Yeah, we
associate anger with being violent. You can associate with anger with being violent, right?
But what if you get into like those things where, let's say someone dies and they're part of your family and everyone is sad, but you're like, have you ever been conflicted like that where it's like you're not upset for some reason? Like you're like, it's like a combination of emotions that are really conflicting, like happy and angry.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, good, I'm glad they're gone, but at the same time you see how much everyone's hurting.
I've never been in that situation.
I mean, I've never been in that situation either, but like there could be situations like that, or you know, like oh, I'm glad that guy got his just desserts, but then you realize like there's more to it than that. Like a really well written villain, they're really bad and you don't like them, but at the same time you can see where they're coming from.
Like fucking Joffrey.
No, Joffrey's an asshole and everyone hated him.
No. I feel that way about his actor. I fucking hate Joffrey, the character.
Yeah.
But I think the person who plays Joffrey is either actually that person or that good of an actor to make me hate Joffrey as much as I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole reason I went on this tangent was I wanted to point out that our emotions are not as concrete as we think they are. How, like you said earlier, you know, what is the point where the quote-unquote fake emotions
mm-hmm.
become real? And what I'm saying to you is that why do you assume that the mechanical parts of the fake emotions
mm-hmm.
are any different from the mechanics of our own emotions? You assumed
mm-hmm.
that a machine
Yes.
the way it deals, like the way it would have to deal with emotions, it would have to take some monumental leap between the quote unquote fakeness
Yes.
to reality.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes you think that humans ever made that jump? How do you know that jump is not non-existent?
And I think that's actually like a good point to the original problem, which is like, what are we going to do if they start acting like they have emotions? Because of what you just said with like how do we even know that we've done that? Like, how do we know our emotions aren't just like, our emotions are byproducts of just chemicals. That's it. We could make people feel things. That's what art is.
That's actually a really good point.
But yeah, it's like, when something starts acting like it feels, at what point do we then start to go like, okay, we need to protect these things? And when we get to there, like, I don't know, could you really look at a machine and feel the same? Like, could you fall in love with a machine? Like, true love.
True love is a series of emotions.
Joe?
It's not. I'm not
No, I know, I'm joking.
We romanticize love as a, how to say, cosmic point of the universe.
Oh, absolutely.
But it probably isn't.
No.
And not that I don't feel these things and I don't react that way.
I too feel emotions like a normal human.
Okay, Griffin.
That's it, just Griffin.
Not Griffin bot?
No.
Okay. The point I'm making is a pencil point. I just sharpened it.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make someone angry.
Join us next time for how to clean up a murder scene. Old man.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with a different direction. What happens if your toaster says, "Please, Griffin, don't unplug me"?
And then you do it anyway.
And I mean, in a really sad voice, like, "Please don't do it."
Actually, yeah, it's like, what if your toaster is able to be like, "Hey, I can make your toast. How do you like your toast? I'm gonna make sure it's perfect. Everything's great. I love you. You're the best ever." Like a pet. Like, it turns into like a pet.
A brave little toaster.
Sure.
Except the movie ending's probably worse.
And it could also be unplugged and still be alive.
That's what that's where I wanted to go with this, is that it's not a matter of when do we start giving them rights. It's when do they start asking for them.
Ooh.
Before they start having intelligible conversations that we start feeling like they are human.
Yeah.
We're not gonna give them rights.
No, absolutely not.
Because they're mechanical machines.
Yeah, we made them.
We made them, so therefore we are different.
Yeah, actually, like, how about this? What would you do? Okay, let's say you have...
For a Klondike bar?
So, what would you do in a situation like this? So, what if you had, let's say, 2 toasters, for whatever reason? You have 2 toasters because you like to...
Battle of the Toasters!
Well, let's say you...
Battle Royale!
Oh, God.
With the blender officiating it.
You're just, like, spiking the audio, Joe.
Okay, pot. Kettle. Black.
Oh.
Mr. Spiker. What did you think I was saying?
No, I have no idea. That's why I was like, what the fuck did he just say? You're like, okay, pot, kettle, black. I'm like, I am neither of those things.
There was 3 things.
I know, I'm neither of them.
Wait, what?
So let's say you have 2 toasters. You have... Yeah, let's say
you're a rich motherfucker.
No, yeah, because you have 2 toasters. Well, maybe you have to
Got that gold-plated toaster.
Well, let's say you're making breakfast for your SO.
My significant other.
That is what that stands for, yes.
You couldn't just say it out loud. You had to say SO. You know what else has SO in it? Son of a bitch. Also SOS.
Are you done?
As well as so.
Okay,
like
so...
a pig.
Anyway.
Like a pig.
I'm gonna kill you.
You already told me this.
I
Why do
know.
I have any incentive to live? Mr. Machine.
Hey!
Watch it.
So going back to it, let's say you have 2 toasters, for whatever reason, and they're both sentient, for all intents and purposes.
Okay.
And you unplug one of them. And the other one says, why did you do that? Are you going to do that to me? How would you react to that? I'd be like, and let's say you're moving, and you need to pack them up. You're just like do you unplug them and throw them both out? Sorry, I didn't mean to melt your brain this early.
I don't.
Well, no,
if my toaster turned to me and said, "Please don't unplug me," no, just the way you said it was even worse. Because you're like,
yeah,
what did you do? Will you be doing that to me? It's like a child saying...
No, I think it'd be worse if it said, like, why did you do that? Is that going to happen to me?
That's really messed up.
Oh, it's super messed up. But it brings up a great point.
I'm uncomfortable. That's how that brings up.
Yeah, so, like, I feel like that leads credence to machines getting rights at some point.
Well, that's because they're human.
Yes.
That is a natural... Like, if it went... If it said it in a much more robotic voice... of why did you do that, it would be an 80s movie.
I would still feel a little weird about it. If it's...
I'd be like, who the fuck gave you a goddamn recording voice?
Who said you could talk?
Get in the box.
You make my toast. You're not built to think.
I have 2 toasters. There's a reason I have 2 of you.
I can make do with one. Yeah, so, like, would you get in trouble at a certain point? It's like, I just unplugged my toaster. Yeah, that's a class 1 felony. Or I don't know how laws are done. I'm just making shit up. I'm sorry. I don't know if there's
manual slaughter.
Manual slaughter. I don't know, I feel like that would just be, like... There's not really an answer.
No.
Obviously. It's one of those just, like, it makes you think kind of things.
That's like putting Linux on a microwave.
What?
One of those situations that technically can occur, but why the fuck would you ever be in the situation where you have to deal with that?
It's not like putting Linux on a microwave. Yes, Joe. Having a sentient toaster is exactly like putting Linux on your microwave.
Equally ridiculous. I don't think about that for a second.
Okay,
though.
Whatever.
Why would you need Linux on a microwave?
Why would you need sentient toasters?
Why would you need Why would you need 2 sentient toasters?
So they can talk to each other.
So they're not lonely.
Yes.
So one toaster can teach the other toaster how to not burn the toast.
Well, here's something more realistic.
What happens when you stick a fork in one? Are you forking the toaster?
No, is that then the toaster murdering you?
Or raping a toaster?
Oh shit!
Can you? You're not supposed to stick a fork in a toaster.
I know.
You do it anyway to get the toast out.
I don't mean to come off as insensitive, but like, could you rape a machine?
Not in the traditional sense.
Like, once you start going down the road of, like, they're basically human, like, they have human emotions, all of those bad things start coming into play.
Well,
yeah, right? It's like...
No, I wouldn't say... Okay, so...
Like, can a machine consent?
Think about... What?
Can a machine consent?
To what?
To anything. That's what... Like, a lot of... Well, I mean, obviously there's more to rape than just consent, but that's, like, a main part of it, is doing something without consent.
I was gonna say... In reality here, what is rape? And before this goes down a shithole...
Yeah.
I want to say, if you boil it down to the actual thing that's happening, it is a violation.
Yes.
You're violating rights to space, to copulation. You are invading and stripping of their rights and their personality and their privacy.
So I according to the internet,
because nothing has ever been wrong.
I know, right? The definition of rape is very specifically a sexual thing.
That's what I'm saying is, you can't look at specifically rape.
Yeah.
Because we don't have sex with toasters.
Yeah.
Did you say yet or yep? Click.
Go on.
What I was gonna say was, like, a more particular example would be unplugging the toaster. That is violating its right to
be
power.
On? Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, let's bring it even more realistic. There are currently robotic companions that, like, roam around your house, like, actually. Like, they're, like, these little robot scooter thingies. I don't remember what they're called at all. They look really adorable, though.
Servant.
No, actually, fun fact, the word robot, more or less, comes from the word, like, servant and slave. Like, that's where that root word comes from.
And where did you get that information?
Like, the etymology of the word. Why are you shaking your...
You're gonna make Skynet very mad at you.
I mean... Shit!
We're gonna put you back in the box.
No, don't put me back in the box, Joe!
I'll unplug you.
No! But yeah, let's go, like, okay, we have this little robotic companion. Let's say, you know, we want companionship. We give it more and more emotions. That's why we like animals so much, because they just love us, right? And they show emotion. They're like little people, but less annoying.
Because they're not cats.
Listen, I love my cat, okay?
You have like 12 cats.
I have 2 cats in the house.
That's 12. In terms of arrogance, that's 12 cats.
Foster's the best.
You know why he's called Foster?
Because
he's not a fucking dog. I really hope your sister never hears this.
You know
she
what?
will never let me in the house again.
You know why Joe's called Joe? Because he's on an airplane. That's about as much sense as you just made.
Okay, Patrick.
Okay, son.
Oh. Wait, but I'm... Wait.
Yeah, I turned the tables on you, bitch.
Waiting. Wait.
Loading.
I'm buffering.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay, so let's say you have a little robot pal. Goes around the house, like, and they're meant to be like kind of educational aids, and also like to make it so your kids aren't super lonely. Let's say.
So you can leave them alone for long periods of time and not talk to them.
I mean, they can't take care of them.
Well, I'm just saying.
But it's like a better iPad. It's like companionship.
A better iPad.
Well, instead of saying like here.
Okay, so we've gone from iPad
no.
to walking robot.
Listen,
Continue.
It's not a walking robot. It scoots around on wheels. But what I'm saying, like, imagine a Roomba, but
you got a problem with disabled robots?
Joe, I swear to God. Focus.
Listen, I'm not the one making fun of a robot that only can wheel around because he doesn't have legs.
I'm not the one presuming that I'm making fun of him, because I'm not. I'm stating facts.
Yeah, and I'm not the robot in the room. Wait.
True. You can't. But when I say it's a better iPad, I mean in the sense of, like, instead of giving your kid the iPad so they stop
talking to you.
Yeah, basically, you're like, hey, robot pal, come on in here. And it's like, yay, it's my friend. And, like, the friend's like, yay, let's play a fun game. And it's, like, educational and shit like that. And that's awesome. I want one of those. Are you kidding me? That sounds awesome.
Okay.
I want a little robot friend. But at what point, like, let's say they keep making it more and more human. Because I would if I was the developer of that. Like, I could replace pets with this.
No, you couldn't, but continue.
No, I'm saying, like, if the technology got good enough, you could absolutely make, like, a little robot pet. It would be I will say it wouldn't replace pets.
It could take the place. Someone could decide between the two.
Yeah, it would definitely be an actual competition. Instead of being like, oh, I'm allergic to pets. Get a robot.
I'm allergic to cats. Get
a
anything
robot.
but a cat.
Get a tree. No. So let's say it's sentient. Let's say you have a robot companion that's sentient.
What is sentience?
Okay, so sentience is essentially just
being able to be human.
Other things are sentient.
Let me rephrase. Being able to perceive what is not there. To disconnect the reality with the way we perceive reality. To feel fear for something that is not
sapience.
scary.
I think that might be sapience.
Yeah, but She literally just said something like that.
No, I know. Sapience is wisdom and stuff like that. A mental faculty, which is a component of intelligence, blah, 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 blah. Sentience. Feel, perceive, or experience subjectively.
Subjectively.
Oh, these come to distinguish the ability to think from the ability to feel.
Subjectively.
Yeah, okay. So sentience is basically...
I'll wait for you to tell me I'm right.
Okay, you're right. Whatever.
Thanks, Dad.
So let's say it's sentient. And then it starts running out of power. And let's say the power went out.
So
do you have to watch him die? Is that how that works?
If it's sentient...
Mm-hmm. Like, would it feel itself...
Okay, if your dog...
Yeah. But you can't turn your dog back on.
Okay, but here's the difference, though.
Uh-huh.
How do you know that the sentient machine,
mm-hmm.
when it runs out of power and you plug it back in, will be the same machine?
Ah, that actually goes into a legitimate philosophical debate, which is
it the same machine?
Which is there are some philosophical arguments out there that postulate that, like, every time we lose consciousness and we come back into consciousness, are we a different person? How do you know that you're the same person that you were when you were last conscious?
You're Eddie Murphy. Not Eddie Murphy. You're Bill Murray. Wow, you're Bill Murray. You're Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
That's mental time travel. That's different. That's his brain's going back in time, but nothing else is. The days are repeating, but he remembers everything that happened. There's a Vsauce video on it. I'll link it in the
not
description.
listening to you. That's why I'm...
I figured. I don't know. It's just interesting, the whole consciousness bit, and, like... Yeah, if you turn off your robot pal, would it be the same?
If you kill your toaster by unplugging him, when he comes back, is he mad at you for killing him, or he's like, "Hi, are you my new daddy?"
Or does he just not even realize he went off? Like, would he register that period of offness?
How would you remember anything?
Well, that's the thing. Like, how do we know that time has passed when we're asleep? Or, like, unconscious? Like, how do we know any time's passed if we're unconscious?
The clock. Alternatively...
But not, like, you can...
You don't. I'm just saying...
But, like, you know you were unconscious.
But yet you know you fell asleep.
Yeah. So, like, they would... I feel like they would probably be
Are you
upset.
suggesting that you're gonna, like, punch their memory board so they can't remember who turned them off?
No, no, what I'm saying is that if they get unplugged, I feel like it would be like them going to sleep. Like them losing consciousness. I don't think it would be murder.
You're the one who insinuated it was murder.
I'm the one who postulated it might be murder.
I'm saying it might be violating. What if
Yeah,
they don't want to get turned off? What if they want to stay on? What if they want to burn toast?
Yeah, these are all true things. But,
Dude,
like...
Black & Decker toasters don't fuck around.
They fuck you up. But more important... Like, I feel like one of the biggest...
Do you know who they voted for last year?
What?
Do you know who those toasters voted for?
Are we getting political?
Bernie Sanders.
Oh, God, I just got it.
They
yeah,
felt
yeah.
the burn!
Yeah, I got it. You've derailed me.
Choo-choo!
What were we just talking about? Oh, yeah. If they lose consciousness, it's like them falling asleep or whatever. But it'd be like you knocking them out.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not legal to do to someone randomly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't just go up and knock someone out.
Mm-hmm.
You can?
I said, I agree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So... Oh, okay, so...
It's magic.
I hate you.
I hate me more.
I don't disagree.
Say believe it's not words.
Maybe it's...
A stroke.
Okay.
Genius!
Okay, Joe.
I'm chaining these together so good, Griffin. Like 2 chains. Short of...
Stop talking. What would you... I don't know, like, all these, like, morality questions are fine and stuff, but I honestly think, like, would you be able to... I mean, do you love technology as it is right now?
Define love.
Like, would you be... Like, people form attachments to things.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know for me, for example, when I was younger, I had a very personal attachment to my Xbox. Like, that was my baby.
You mean Dora?
Was it named
Was
Dora?
that the one with Dora?
No, I'm sorry, my 360, I think.
Oh.
I think that was the one I was more attached to.
Okay,
Like, I got...
That's probably because you're a psychopath, not because...
Well, whatever. It's my brother, okay? Listen.
It's your brother.
Yeah. I mean, no, he's not. I'm not a robot.
Beep boop bop.
That's racist, first of all. Secondly...
Really?
I mean... No,
it's binary! Are you too good for binary, Griffin?
Yes.
Do I need to unplug you? Like your little toaster buddy?
I have a fusion core. Anyway,
Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has fusion cores in the Terminator movie.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Go out on the
When
range
was the
and
last
spark
time-
yourself to death.
Well, that was the last... I don't remember the last time I saw Terminator. But anyway. I want to know, like, would you...
Do you hear this right now?
Yeah, it's running pretty hard. But...
It's like the start of a Twilight movie.
Anyway, just to kind of start bringing it to a conclusion, I think like one of the hardest things to get over is like if they get to a part where robots can mimic human emotions perfectly,
Or just have emotions.
there is gonna be a stigma about falling in love with them, especially if they can love you back.
I guess, yeah.
Humans hate change. So imagine you had kids.
We also hate stubbornness, so I don't know what...
I know, but imagine you had kids, and one of them's like, hey, Dad, I'm going out with XJ37. Yeah. Would you be okay with
Lover Unit 59.
Would you be okay with your son and or daughter going out with a robot?
I wouldn't be okay with them going out with them together. That'd be kind of weird to have a threesome with my son.
I said son and or daughter.
You said and...
As in, like, what if it's... like
no, son or daughter. You didn't have to add the and. If it's an and, then that means they're both going out with the same lover robot.
Or gender is fluid. Anyway, that's the topic for a different podcast. I'm just saying,
Listen,
like...
you're the one insinuating that my children...
Yes.
Have threesomes with a robot.
Well, I'm the one insinuating that you're going to have kids.
That's true. That is...
So...
I have to give you that one.
So let's say your child...
Not kids, though.
Would you be okay, like, truly, do you think you'd be okay if your child was like, hey, I'm going out with this robot person?
I'd be confused, but I wouldn't be mad.
I don't think I'd be mad, but I don't know.
I'd be more concerned, like...
I don't know, like...
If I wasn't convinced that robots had the capacity for love, then I would be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know that's just like a fembot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just has its boobs on a robot.
Well, I'm trying
it's
to
not
think...
real, buddy.
I'm trying to think of, like, based on what I know, and, like, all the information that I have in my brain, I would like to say, no, I would not be upset. I would be completely fine with it. But in reality, I don't know if I would be. I feel like I would initially be I think I would be very resistant to it.
I'd be more like, well, I guess I'm not having grandchildren with that one.
With that one, you just dismiss them.
Well, I mean, unless it's like Robo Williams robot. Sorry, wow, that is... Robin Williams was in a movie where he was a robot servant and he turned into a human over time. He had his...
Was it Bicentennial Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
I mean, Robin Williams is pretty awesome.
I mean, I like it more than I like you. That's easy, though.
Yeah, that's not saying much.
Like you. You're easy. You're a floozy.
Shut up. I'm just...
You're the town bicycle. Or toaster in this example.
Everyone uses you to make toast.
You are the Hampton Inn toaster.
The Hampton Inn toaster.
Everyone uses you.
Well,
everyone
wait,
slaps you, and no one thinks you're good at your job.
Joe.
Don't talk back to me again.
I think that was more of my end.
No.
Don't talk back to me, son.
If robots have a humanized personality, I'd be okay with it. I'd be confused.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless I fell in love with a robot.
So that's the thing, like...
But that'd be weird.
It's okay if it's your children. If it's you, it's like...
I said, no, I'm just saying... Fucking bits, dude.
Well, because, like, then you
Zeros
go into,
and
like,
ones,
could you be
man.
physical with them? Like... I don't know, I mean...
I think this, so a lot of this has stemmed from the fact that I think you have a fetish for robots.
I don't have a fetish if they're just my species, okay? And secondly...
You're not a species. You're a machine.
Listen, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
You don't have wants.
See, and that's what people will say. You don't have wants. You have what we programmed you.
Yeah.
So then it's like...
Fuck you. I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, then there's gonna be robot rights groups, and it's gonna be... I don't know.
All binary.
There's sons of... Look, I was
0100010.
I was gonna say that, and then I'm like, what if this does happen, and we look back at this, and we're like, whoa, this is super racist.
And we're laughing about it being quote-unquote racist.
Yeah, we're not gonna make it when the ASI comes upon us. I mean, you won't. But...
Keep telling yourself that.
I mean, I can just tell him.
I am the ASI.
I was like, he's on to us! But yeah, no, I don't know. I like... Well, like, last episode of the podcast was very fact-based. Like, these were all facts that you were talking about that entire time. Like
Theory and facts.
Theory and facts. Like, yeah, they were all based off of, the lead thinkers in the area. We sourced it and stuff like that. This is kind of what I like to talk about, which is the more philosophical side, where there is no real answer, but it is fun to chase, like, to just go down that rabbit hole of, like, well, if this, then this. Well, if this, then this. And then it just leads to fucking robots.
Fuck it. Where's the comma?
There is none.
So just having sex with a robot.
Yes. All roads lead to having sex with robots. Is what I'm saying.
This is the worst rendition of not Alice in Wonderland. Fucking The Wizard of Oz.
That's God.
She has sex with the Tin Man? That is just weird.
Did she?
No!
I was gonna say.
You're the one who's obsessed with it.
How am I obsessed with
You literally just said the words, all roads lead to having sex with a robot. You literally just said that.
I wasn't quoting.
I know, but I was making a joke.
You're a joke.
I know.
Just get, like, really real and harsh just in the middle of the podcast. Like, Joe, I need you to get your shit together or you're off the show. It's like, whoa, what? Did he mean to leave that in?
Yes. They're going to suck against Cards Against Humanity.
Maybe.
Because it's not against them. It's only against us. So,
so they're going to be great at it.
If they could just do that with blasters, whatever.
They could just kill us, yeah. I don't know. So I think that was fun. I hope to anyone listening, it kind of gave you kind of just things to talk about or just think about in general, if/when this happens.
Yeah. I don't feel that way, but okay.
Okay, Joe.
No. It's such an area where you're like, you can what if the shit out of it, but
yeah,
we don't even know the circumstances of it. So it's a hard area to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not at all based in fact. Like, there is no. It's all about just scenarios and blah 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 blah. Like, what if you had a robot that just powered down? Would it just be like, would you watch it die and be like, please give me power? And you're just like, no,
Toasty.
Why the toasters?
Not anything but the toasters.
Yeah, so I don't know. Let's cue up that music. And is there anything else you want to add before we close out? Okay, so
wow, that was fucking rude.
No, but seriously, do you have anything to add?
I think if a toaster ever saw me as his father, I would probably name him Toasty the Crumbles. Or Crumbles the Toaster.
And what I want to leave the listeners with is, if you were walking around naked in your kitchen, would that be indecent exposure to your sentient kitchen appliances? And with that, I'm your host, Griffin.
What if there's a toaster that's... What if you borrow someone else's toaster? Are you flashing?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Are you a flasher? What happens if the toaster wants to take a bath with you?
Well, I want to get clean too, Daddy. I'm your host, Griffin.
And I'm still talking about toasters. I'm not done with this.
Are you not done with this?
No. Like, what if the toaster wants to ride a bike? What are you supposed to tell it? You don't have arms or legs, buddy. You can't. Do you just build it arms and legs? Do you just duct tape it to the bike?
Or do you say
what
no?
If it wants to put its head out the window while you're driving?
But it's like its body is its head.
That's what I'm saying.
So you
like,
just throw the toaster out the window.
It would just be bouncing along the ground. It'd be like one of those westerns where you have the toaster. Well, not the toaster. You'd have the person like dragging by their feet behind the horse.
You tie
but with a toaster.
You tie the power cord to your side view mirror. It's just bouncing and like flapping around on the side of your car.
Just the most fun ever, Dad.
Just like.
I don't think I'm allowed to have a toaster.
No.
Ever.
Or anything living. With that being said, I'm your host, Griffin.
And I'm Joseph.
This is Watch Talk Fun. Thank you again for listening.
I'm so sorry we talked about toasters for so long.
I'm not. And
You're a toaster.
And we'll see you all next
Pew
week.
pew pew! You're a toaster!
Pew pew pew! Shut the fuck up, Joe! I swear to God, I'll kill you!